Here we go. Nebraska takes on Iowa tomorrow for the Battle of the Heroes Trophy. So in today's video, I'm going to give you my official predictions for that matchup. Who are some statistics leaders for Nebraska and Iowa? Game predictions, offensive and defensive MVPs, and then who wins? Nebraska or Iowa? So really quick, we have a lot to talk about. Really quick, happy Thanksgiving to every single one of you guys. Hope you're having a good day and make sure to hit that like button. And hey, if you're new to the channel or just a returning viewer, make sure to subscribe. I post daily Nebraska football content and we have the best family here on Husker YouTube. So if you're a diehard Husker fan, make sure to subscribe. You will be thanking yourself that you did. But without further ado, let's get into it, going over my official predictions for the Huskers versus the Hawkeyes, Nebraska versus Iowa tomorrow night at Kinnick Stadium. First things first, I'm going to give you 5 game predictions as I have all year long, then score prediction and offensive and defensive MVPs. First prediction, I think Nebraska starts quick and begins this game 7-0. You heard that right. Nebraska goes down the field and gets a touchdown in the first quarter to begin this game. You know, last week versus Wisconsin, we went down and scored pretty darn easily. The offense was clicking. Dana Holgorsen had a phenomenal game plan. He scripted out that drive to perfection. I think the exact same thing happens here. You know, he's going to have this offense dialed. Matt Rhule is going to have these boys pumped up, ready to play against their dreaded rival. You know, Nebraska is 2-0 in rivalry games this year. Of course, beat down Colorado, beat down Wisconsin. In both of those games, they started off pretty quick. Matt Rhule just has a knack for making these guys get ready for the biggest games against their biggest rivals, and I think the exact same thing happens here. We start off 7-0. The question is, can we be consistent and apply that throughout the rest of the game? I don't know, but I feel pretty confident the Huskers get going offensively and start off with a touchdown. Number 2, I do think Nebraska continues to struggle on defense versus the Hawkeyes. It's been pretty underwhelming the last couple weeks. And say what you want about Nebraska's big-time victory last week versus Wisconsin, we still gave up 24 points against an offense who didn't have an offensive coordinator and just fired their guy a week before. So, you know, this defense has struggled for Nebraska. It struggled, you know, against Ohio State, against Indiana. It struggled, you know, even against UCLA and USC. So I think the exact same thing is going to happen here against Iowa, unfortunately. I think it's going to be hard to contain Caleb Johnson, who's one of the best running backs in the country. I think we probably end up making their third-string quarterback look pretty darn good because the secondary has struggled. But again, I expect the offense to be clicking for Nebraska. So that's not just going to say that we're going to lose this football game. I just think at times our defense is going to struggle because that's just the way it has been over the back half of the season. But again, the game plan is very, very clear for this defense. Force them to throw the football because I don't trust their quarterback, and you got to shut down Caleb Johnson in any way that you possibly can. Third prediction, I think we have a breakout player in Nebraska's final regular season game, and I think it's going to be Carter Nelson. I feel very confident that Carter Nelson will finally get his opportunity. The reason I feel confident is because Thomas Fidone got benched versus Wisconsin. Again, he only had 2 snaps in that ball game. He had a really bad first snap, and then the second snap, he committed a false start. They pulled him, and they never put him back in. Thomas Fidone is benched. You know, his family, they were not very happy about it. He's disgruntled. So Thomas Fidone would probably not play a snap against Iowa, if I were to guess. That means guys like Nate Borkacher, Carter Nelson, those guys are going to get thrown into action, and Carter Nelson will have a big game. Again, I think that he really thrives in a game like this against a pretty small secondary for Iowa. They're physical, but I think a guy like Carter Nelson who's really tall is going to really thrive. And again, he's physical as well. So Carter Nelson breaks out in a big way. I also think Ja'Cory Barnes is going to have a good day, but that's the usual. He's been the most consistent player for Nebraska all season long. That's crazy to say because he's a true freshman. Number 4. I think Nebraska wins the turnover battle tomorrow against the Hawkeyes. I think it's going to be a pretty clean game for the most part. It's not like both teams are giving the ball away left and right. But I do expect Iowa to throw away an interception again. They have a third-string quarterback. They can't run this football the entire game. At some point, they're going to have that guy go out there and throw a pass. And I think Nebraska, although their secondary has struggled, and I probably expect that to happen again, they have done one thing right. And they forced turnovers. So I expect Iowa to throw an interception. Nebraska, I don't expect to throw an interception. So it'll be a 1-0 turnover battle. But Nebraska, in fact, does win that aspect of the ball game. I'm hoping they can win the time possession as well. But I do expect them to win the turnover battle, and hopefully they can turn that into points offensively because that's been a little bit of a struggle. Number 5, I think this game will not be a one-score ball game, very similar to the Wisconsin game, where we go into the fourth quarter and you feel pretty confident about who you think is going to win that football game, whether it's Iowa or whether it's Nebraska. So again, I think one team's going to be better than the other tomorrow. One team's going to want it more. One team's going to play with a lot more passion. One team's going to go out there with something to prove, with a chip on their shoulder, and one team will win by more than a touchdown. So that's what I expect going into tomorrow. Let's get into who I believe will win the Heroes Trophy in Iowa City. Is it going to be Iowa or is it going to be Nebraska? I'm superstitious, guys. I'm superstitious when it comes to Nebraska football. I should preface with that. I predicted a loss versus Wisconsin because, I said that I wanted to jinx us. And I did jinx us. We won that football game. I said I wanted to jinx us when I predicted the loss versus Rutgers. I jinxed us. We won. So, whether I like it or not, I've been jinxing Nebraska. And when I predict a couple wins versus UCLA and USC, we lost. A lot of my picks have been opposite. Now, I feel it's been the same way with you guys. Nebraska's a pretty hard team to predict. So, in that case, I'm going to pick Iowa to win this football game. 27-17, Iowa gets it done. Now, the question is, do I actually believe that Iowa will win this football game? I don't know. You guys can read in between the lines there. But I think I might think the opposite. I might think Nebraska wins 27-17. No, I don't believe that. I believe Iowa's going to win 27-17. All right. Iowa gets it done 27-17. Hawkeyes get the Heroes Trophy. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, just take my word for it. Look at my face and see what I actually mean there. But again, being a little superstitious, I think the Hawkeyes will get it done. Offensive MVP Emmett Johnson has a big day for the Huskers. He gets in the end zone a couple times, really makes those Hawkeyes skate because he's been really, really shifty, really, really good. He's going to have a trophy-like performance tomorrow. And then Ty Robinson, last ever real regular season game of his Husker career, I think is going to get to the quarterback a couple of times and get in the backfield. He will have a pretty big day as well. So, all right, guys, that's my prediction. I'm sticking with it. Let me know down below your score prediction for Nebraska versus Iowa. Who do you think wins this football game? Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.